All right, we'll give it another minute or two to see who else shows up. As most of you know, Michelle's not here. She's away at a conference in Orlando. So currently the four of us will talk. Most of the things we'll talk about are the drill that we did this week, and obviously the one coming up on October 4th. Cameron has some things today. Shannon will say a few things. Rob will say a few things. Again, we'll give it another minute or two to see if Amy shows up. Tom is in town at a town planning. Yeah, LAPC. He's at a town meeting right now. It probably has something to do with the new construction. Yeah. I know, for once. What's that, Amy? I know, we'll see. You want to go first, or I will. Do you want me to leave some of the stuff for you, or do you want me to mention it?
We can all tackle it together because they're all going to.
I'll just say a couple things. I'll let you talk about it then. All right, I'll start. My name is Jason Irish, Director of Concierge and Communication Services. I'll touch on a couple regular things that I always talk about, and then I'll pass it off. Can everybody hear me in the back? We're good? No?
Too loud or too soft? You want it louder? Am I loud enough?
All right. How's that? Miss Aldwell, how's that? Good? All right. So the same things I always talk about, check your mail at the concierge desk. We've got, some new residents now. We see there's, one thing I'll talk about. I don't know if Shannon's going to bring it up. Mail forwarding. We've had a few internal moves from one apartment to another with these. Most residents are not going to have to deal with this, but internal moves, the USPS now has a new process where, I thought I saw Miss Gillespie, but when you move from one apartment to another, USPS, the Postal Service, will put something in your mailbox to confirm the forward. You'll have to send that back, and then they'll be able to forward your mail completely. We've had some issues recently with a few residents that have moved, mails getting held up in other residents' mailboxes, and we just want to, get that going. Again, it's a new process by the Postal Service that we're working through. But yeah, check. So what I was talking about originally is check your mail at the concierge desk. Mail is going into folders when it's, there's Miss Gillespie. I see you. When mail is addressed to you and it doesn't have your apartment number or cottage number, it will go to the concierge desk. So check it periodically, once a week, once every 2 weeks, so it doesn't back up. Therapy schedules go there from outpatient therapy in the health center. So just check that periodically. Obviously this week we had the drill on Monday. We've been talking about this for a while. If you need to get family members on the mass notification system, or if you want an updated cell phone number or email, and I know we keep on talking about this, let me know or let the concierge desk know so we can get those numbers or emails in the system. Again, it's not just for October 4th. This is for any notification that we send out. We want to make sure everyone is notified. We're working through, I'm going to bounce around right now. We're working through some of the weaknesses that we know about in the hallways where, a resident that leaves their apartment, doesn't have a cell phone, won't get notified while they're walking through the hallways. We're working on figuring out how we can notify residents, visitors, staff, if there is an incident that we need to alert everybody. Those are our weaknesses in the hallways. Another thing I'll talk about that I always do is your PERS pendant. We send out messages regularly, or we put something in your mail cubby asking for you to bring your PERS down to either change the battery or just assess the PERS. Make sure we're checking that. I know I talked about it at a management Q&A maybe a couple months ago. That when maintenance does the preventative maintenance check, we'll also test the PERS. Maybe remind the maintenance tech, those of you that listen to this, or those of you here at home or watch it on YouTube after, test your PERS when maintenance is there, checking the HVAC system, doing the preventative maintenance check, test your PERS as well. We want to make sure they're working. If there's ever an issue, we don't want to wait until it doesn't work.
On a side note on that, how many of you have your PERS on you right now? It's about half. I will say, make sure on October 4th, you have your pendant with you, on you. Get in the habit of carrying that pendant all the time. You should have that on your person for safety reasons. If you fall somewhere in a hallway or down a stairwell, you need that pendant on you. It's there for your safety. And we'll find out that you're there a whole lot quicker if you have that pendant.
Rob, go to
Okay.
Bernice. Leonard.
Bernice, hold on. She doesn't have a purse?
That can't be true. And I know
We'll get you one. We'll get you one.
Rob, let me
But
see
it's
that.
just really important for safety.
All right. The next thing I'll say is, and I know Cameron will talk about this too, is I want to reiterate the 4 outs. So we know what to do. I think most of you were at the presentation that the sheriff's cave here. Cameron will say it better than I will, but we're reiterating the 4 outs. So the 4 outs, first one is hideout. No, the first one is get out, hide out, keep out, and take out. Again, hiding out, as soon as you hear an alarm, either on your phone, cell phone, email, however you're getting the alarm, make sure we're locking doors. We are turning off lights. We're closing blinds if you can. Again, put yourself in a position for success or for survival in these cases. The first thing you want to do is, again, lock the doors, turn off the lights, make sure you're safe, hide out, find a place out of sight. But again, we're going to keep on talking about this. Cameron may bring it up again, but it's the 4 outs. I'll say it again. It's get out, hide out, keep out, take out. Get out is clear. You're getting out of the way of the incident. Hiding out, pretty self-explanatory. Keep out, you're barricading a door if you have to. The other day in here when we had the alarm on Monday, or the incident on Monday, I was talking to Lionel Heyman in here, and there's Tamar. Right. So Tamar,
cover
for
that.
those of you that didn't hear Tamar, there was a big event in here that day, probably about 40 to 50 people in here. They heard it through the phone in the back. Sarah was sitting in the front. Gretchen notified the group that was in the room. This room is tough to get out of. So all they did was close the doors, shut the lights. We thought about how we would, barricade the doors. These doors open out. So, we pushed doors or we pushed chairs in front of the doors. We thought of a way we could, no, in the back, Gretchen pushed. We could have done that. With 50 people in the room, there's no place to hide for everyone in this room. All right, so we're saving a small percentage of the people in the room. What we can do, yeah. What I thought of, and I'll talk to Tom more about it, is we could maybe zip tie these handles together, or if someone has a belt, they can do it. Again, these are just ideas you want to think about. And I've mentioned this before. I've said it. Every room you go into, and this is not something we want to have to talk about all the time. I know we're really hammering it down right now because this drill on October 4th. Hang on, Ina, is every room you go into, you want to know your surroundings. You want to know your exit. I know we talk about the evacuation policy, but in the game room, when you go there for card game, or when you go there for a dining committee meeting, know your exits, know where you would go if there was an incident and you had to get out. In your apartment, know where your closest exit is out of the building. For a flood or for any incident in any room, the classroom, know what you would do. We just need to, constantly be reminded that we should be aware of our surroundings. Ina.
On Monday, when everything happened, we were told this is a lockdown. We weren't told, any lockdown doesn't mean, unless it does, hide and kiss your goodbye. So lockdown meant sit still.
Yeah. Well, right now, we're using the term lockdown as when we press our panic button, we're calling that a lockdown situation. So we're not going to, again, every situation is going to be different. We can't categorize one event with everything. Again, a lockdown, we're saying when we press the panic button, it's a lockdown situation, whether it's an active shooter, whether it's, Michelle's used the term a bear attack, somewhere on campus. it could be anything. We're just saying lockdown to use the 4 outs. Go right into 4-out mode as soon as you hear lockdown.
This is because it's something we've never covered before. So I know it's new for a lot of people, but it's just getting in the habit, and we'll do more. October 4th is going to be stressful as well. That's why we want you to have your PERS on you. We're going to have a lot of people here, a lot of confusion. That's okay. We're all going to go through this together. We're not doing this alone, and we're not doing this for our sake. We're doing it for the facility. We're doing this to help law enforcement as well. So I understand that we don't want this to be a ghost town on October 4th. If I have to, I will go to your apartments and pull you out there before this happens. We don't want everyone to disappear on October 4th, because then we're wasting a lot of time. It's not reality, because you never know when this is going to happen. We told you ahead of time so we can prepare and everyone can participate, not that everyone can disappear. All right. So actively participate. As inconvenient as this might be, think about the benefits that how this is helping law enforcement and the people that come in here, doing the job that they have to do, which is extremely difficult, protecting us and helping us do our job and protecting you as well. So please participate in this. Don't vanish on us, please. Okay, go ahead.
So if we're out and about and this thing happens, will we be allowed to go back to our apartments?
Sure.
No. I was going to address this before, but I figured instead of, reoccurring when I stand up and do all of this, we can talk about it now between the three of us. Just to reiterate it, I'll go back to your question. As Rob just said, this is an emergency exercise. Rather than calling this a drill, which makes it sound scary and makes you want to stay in your apartment, in your cottage, and wherever you are, meaning that you'll be locked down, this is an exercise, meaning that all activity should resume as usual this day at Woodland Pond. Meaning if there was management Q&A and all of you were here in this time, then you would normally come that day because you want to go to management Q&A. That day, don't not go to yoga because you think that it might be happening at that time. Rest assured that we have strategically picked a time where it would be, more convenient for you. So I don't want you to feel like we picked a time to be a pain in the neck, for lack of a better phrase. So please, as Rob just said, and as I'm reiterating, continue your normal activity that day, because the only way that we'll be able to fully fulfill this exercise is to have you all participate, because at the end of the day, this is what this is for. If everybody stays in their apartment and is afraid that day that they'll have to be stuck wherever they're stuck at that time, whether you know the time or you don't, we're not going to get anything out of it. And ultimately, out of all of this planning that we've been doing, law enforcement won't get anything out of it. So just know that we've been planning this for over a year. And in order for it to come to fruition to what we have been trying to plan for, we need everybody to act accordingly to their normal activity. So with that being said, as Jason mentioned, and it's a little bit tricky, especially because this is not something that's really been introduced to Woodland Pond before, is that certain things would inhibit a quote unquote lockdown drill. And that is by the discretion of leadership at Woodland Pond, and also by the leadership of different training sources and resources that we have been in contact with and training with. Meaning, if a bear came on campus, like Michelle said, that would inhibit a lockdown drill, because everybody would need to shelter in place and not move because they wouldn't want to be eaten by the bear. So ultimately, there could be another scenario where, Tom has talked about there could be a fire in Betsy's apartment, but Bill could have an apartment right next to her, and he would be told to stay in his apartment, but she should vacate. So now that wouldn't be a lockdown drill. So this is kind of where you need to place your trust in the administration of Woodland Pond, because if it is an accurate scenario, whether it be an exercise or a real event, it would be a lockdown drill if it needed to. So with that being said, that day that we're having this exercise, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will be a lockdown drill. Just because we've been drilling for the past couple of weeks and we did this week, it doesn't mean that that's what's happening. It basically could be anything happens, just like anything can happen any other random day. So that kind of, I hope, clears some type of confusion up. In terms of if it was a lockdown drill, if it was a shelter in place, if it was a fire, if it was a flood, depending on what your instruction is that day, use your intuition as an independent living resident to do what you should do, because ultimately that is what would happen on any random day. So if you are outside of your apartment or if you're outside of the building, depending on what that exercise is portraying that day is what you should follow. So if it is a lockdown, then you would not be instructed to come back into the facility. If you are instructed that there is a fire in the pack and that's what you hear, you clearly would not come towards the pack. So again, use that intuition and, you know, kind of follow your own instinct.
We know there's going to be questions, and we can't predict every scenario that you're going to be in on that day, whether you're just coming out of your apartment or you're 3 floors away. You know what I mean? We can't predict the circumstance you're going to be in that particular day. So if you're not by your apartment, you're not going to be able to get back to your apartment. If you're 2 apartments away, yes, you can make it back. But if your apartment's on the 6th floor and you're just coming down to the no, you're not going back. You're going to shelter in place right there because you don't know what you're walking back into. So you don't know, say, hey, the shooter's up on your floor. Do you want to go back up there? No. You want to shelter in place in your nearest vicinity as to where you are on that day. Okay. And we'll do the best we can in guiding you into when that lockdown actually starts. Well, if it's a lockdown, I mean, if it's a lockdown and that's what we go into, like we did the other day when you were in here, you want to follow those guidelines. Okay. If it is a lockdown, go ahead, Ra.
If we're told to turn off our cell phones because if there's someone trying to, I forgot the word.
Silence your phone.
Silent, that's what I meant. Silence your phones. How will we get your messages?
So this will depend on, again, the type of scenario that it is. So if if there's a fire, you wouldn't obviously need to silence your phone. Again, if it's a lockdown and it doesn't have any other explanation, there would be no reason for you to silence your phone. However, if you have an active threat that comes across as your alert system, then you would silence it. But there is a difference between turning it off and silencing it. So if you're able to and you know how to silence your phone, it would be recommended to try and silence your phone to mitigate any risk, because ultimately doing all of these things and what Jason touched upon and closing the doors and, zip tying or belting the door, whatever it is, barricading, following the 4 outs, it's all about mitigating risk.
I'm curious to what extent this applies to cottages. For example, I'm mainly concerned about a real active shooter. If we have the blinds drawn and the lights off in every cottage and the doors locked, an active shooter who is going down to cottages would realize that was staged and that he or she would go to anyone and try to break in. So my theory would be that if there were an active shooter, I'd simply turn off the lights and the radio and lock the doors and go sit in the walk-in closet. But I wouldn't bother with the shades because they don't prove anything.
And that's fine. I mean, again, this is more of a judgment call. You all are independent living residents, or at least most of you. And with that being said, it's your independent responsibility to ultimately protect yourself, especially when you're in your own residence. So as much as we can make these recommendations as to a hearsay event or a hearsay situation, it's your responsibility to do what you feel like is best to protect yourself following your intuition.
Well, here's one thing that came up last week. So not at the drill this week, the last drill that was last week, we had drill observers walking around, checking doors. I'm not sure if Michelle put this out. She may have mentioned it. There was, over 20 rooms that were unlocked. So I know Michelle's talked about it before. We want everyone to get in the habit of locking your doors. So even if that's just one step you won't have to do. If your door's already locked, by the time you enter your apartment, you lock your door, that alarm goes off. You don't have to worry about locking the door because it's already locked. When you leave your apartment, you should lock your door. We know all residents don't do it, but I know that's what Michelle wants everybody to be doing.
Will the elevators be running on October 4th?
They technically will be running, but you shouldn't use them.
No, you can use them until the drill goes off. They'll be running all day. We're not shutting the elevators
Yeah,
down if
like-
that's the question.
And that's, that's also goes to my point with this scary October 4th date is things aren't necessarily going to be shut down just because things are happening. Like I mentioned, this is going to be a fully active day as it typically would be, just like today at Woodland Pond. So depending on the scenario and what might happen at that exercise is what Woodland Pond administration is going to be tested to put into place to protect the residents and staff.
Just, I heard that this is going to be a 4-hour drill. Does that mean wherever we are, that's where we stay for 4 hours?
That's dependent on what you do that day.
I don't think the right wording would be it's a 4-hour drill. I think that there's a 4 or 5 hour window that things could be happening, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be a 4-hour drill. I think that no one knows. So I think that I just came from a meeting down at the police station where we talked a lot about this. If anybody says they know anything, they're wrong. So I think that there is no, there's no time, there's no length of time that because also they don't, even the people planning it don't know, because how things go during the drill, I mean, our defenses here might be so effective that they don't even get in. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and like what Tom said, it's that window that we are using so that we can basically utilize the hours from law enforcement and their resources. So no, I mean, everything is subjective to how that goes that day.
Did Tom want you to ask that question? He came in late. Did he hand you some crib notes to try and get some information? We want you to participate, like regardless, of time and what you hear. Some things that you hear might be true. Some things might not be true. But like we said, we need you to participate regardless.
But again, wherever we are, be it in yoga, be it anywhere, that's where we stay.
Correct.
All right.
If that's the
Okay.
situation, if that's what's going on at that time. You need to come.
What's the signal that the emergency preparation is finished? Is there an announcement?
Yes, she's asking if there's a signal. Yes, there's an all clear that goes through once we reach a certain point or things are safe. There is an all clear that will go out on your phone system, just like it went out, that there's an alert, or if whatever the situation is. All those alerts, like you get those on your cell phone. That's why Jason said earlier, make sure all your contact information is up to date, so you're getting those messages.
And in addition for your own devices to be up to date, meaning your text, phone number, and email being up to date, please make sure that your family members who would be your emergency contacts or anybody who you're wishing to know your whereabouts is, please make sure that they know as well. Michelle and I are working on writing up a press release in conjunction with the Ulster County Emergency Department team. So that should be coming out this week. And if not this week, then earlier next week. But regardless, that will be going out to our listserv. So all of your family members who are on that and yourselves will be receiving it. So just so you know, New Paltz as a whole will be getting an update, and so will our immediate community. Yes.
Who is going to be setting the time for this, law enforcement or Woodland Pond?
Us and law enforcement. It's Rob and I are the only ones who know.
I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but once I leave my apartment, my cell phone goes to voicemail. It doesn't, even if I load patrons, I don't always get patrons. So I don't get the notices if I'm in the halls or in another room.
signal around the community in general is something that we've worked with law enforcement on in terms of their communication and communication for our own that we can better. This is kind of side noting, but we've had different agencies such as Verizon and cell towers come in to see if we can upgrade that. So just know this emergency exercise will be a very valuable tool for residents and staff in order to evaluate those things. So feedback in that type of manner is what we're looking for. And that's why we're having an exercise like this. Anybody else? No more questions about October 4th. The one thing I did want to say is there will be a nationwide alert at about 2:20. Ironically enough, it's also on October 4th. That basically will just be a nationwide alert to kind of stimulate some type of response. Not that anything will be happening nationwide, but it will be more or less a media update. So if any of you are enrolled in that type of update to your cell phone, your email, whatever it is, just know you will be receiving something at 2:20 in regards to something similar to that, but it has nothing to do with us. So that day will be a day of alerts. I don't know. Yeah, on TVs as well. Any other questions? Anything else? I think so. All right. I'll wait. I'll wait.
Put notes on my phone. All right, I'm going to hold this. Hi, I'm Amy McIntyre. I'm the dining director at Woodland Pond. Okay, I'm going to go quick, believe it or not. How about that? I just want to talk about a few things. You guys saw that on the tables, we have the happy or not machine. A lot of the residents were concerned that it was hard for them to maneuver that. They would forget after they left. You could always go the next day. It doesn't matter if you hit up that meal period when you're walking by at any time for any reason, you can go to the happy or not machine, whether it's lunch, whether it's Emily in the pub, whether it's Ruth, or, you have a great exchange with Tanya, just hit the happy. Anytime dining makes you happy, you see how I didn't say sad? Anytime dining makes you happy, you can go to that machine. That being said, we have the QR codes on the tables now for anyone who is technologically savvy. Use your, you can go onto your camera, hit the button, put over the QR code that's on your table, hit the button, and then you can also now do it while you're dining, because that was asked. Someone had asked about being able to do it at the tables. You can tell us things. We average about 100 responses a week, which really isn't that bad. 100 happy or nots, and I get about 35 about comments about the food and stuff like that. It's always interesting because somebody will say the falafel was crap, and then somebody will say that was the best falafel I've ever had. So this happens, and I buy the falafel, just so anybody wants to know, because I'm not making that in there. There's certain things that I should not mess with. All right, right now you are in the final weeks of your spring, summer menus. So Jared and my team, we are working on your fall, winter menus. I have said across many forums that any and all suggestions are welcome. So if you have a fan favorite on your spring, summer menu and you want to make sure it stays on your fall, winter, let us know. If there's something that you've had in the past, if there's something that you had at the restaurant up the road, check the price of it before you tell me about it. But also add that on. All right. Please keep in mind, I always like to remind you that I went to Shadows for dinner and a New York strip was $49. Okay. The porterhouses at this point, they're averaging about $80 to $100 a porterhouse steak. I can't make this up. I don't know how many of you go out into the real world and eat at restaurants, but a salmon is $39. No salad. You get maybe a side, and they tell you what it's coming with. You don't get choice of sides. You get exactly what's on the menu. I went to an Il Figlio, beautiful Italian restaurant. You know, I couldn't pay my electric the next day. Okay, we have kept our prices down. Right. We have kept our, you don't even want to talk about my electric bill for my house. No, I don't have a solar. I'm screwed. Okay. Applauds. My wait staff really loves the applauds. I don't get enough of them from you. Okay. Please go to the concierge if you need some, hand them in. I do meetings every day, or Tanya does, but someone in dining and management does wait staff meetings at 4:20 every single day. We talk about topics. We talk about menus. We talk about you guys. We talk about the night before. Last night, I had a few call outs. We had 4 servers in the dining room. Tanya could barely walk today. Her feet were killing her. Okay. These things happen. And when they do, we work together. Jared was running food from what I was told. That's what we do. That's what a team does. I spent all day in the health center yesterday, and today I will, and tomorrow, because now we've opened assisted living dining room. Everybody has to come to the dining room. So I've been pretty busy over there. So I have my other team here. Okay. But the applauds, if Jared's doing a good job, I got like 5 of them, and I didn't know that I could hand them in, and they let me. And I brought my kids to Stewart's, and we got sundaes. You know how excited my little girls were to get sundaes? And all you did was say, Amy's awesome, which we already knew. All right, server signs you're seeing on your tables. A lot of residents had come to me about not knowing who their servers were. So now you have little cards on there that will tell you who your front waiter, back waiter is. That way you're not yelling across the table to Josh when he's serving, not you, because you don't have 2 minutes. Patience. What I also noticed in the dining room is some of us residents ask for the same item from 3 different people. Give them a couple minutes. Please, please, please call someone over, ask for it. If it's not coming in a timely manner, some of us have different ideas of timely manner, then please ask for, then you can ask for someone to come over. But when you ask 3 people for the same item, they all go back there to do it for you. And then that's taking from another resident. And then they're like, where's my stuff? And this happens a lot more than we should talk about. Okay. Also, local produce. You've been seeing that, correct? So 14 years, I was told that we've been asking for local produce in the kitchen. Well, Amy made it happen. I found a workaround. I'm not telling you my secrets. I'm just going to let you know that I got some apples in. You've been seeing them in the pub. I also got local corn. I don't have any New Paltz farms. I got something from Saunders Skills in Akard. And I literally had a resident come to me and say, that's not New Paltz. Local produce is Jersey. You do know that, right? Long Island. So that's the idea of local for that's how it works. It's all fresh. But yeah, I got some negative feedback about the corn. Now the corn was outstanding, but you have all those good farms in New Paltz. Why do you got to go to Saunderskill 10 minutes up the road? I got some Hudson River fruit. I got apples from Milton. Why aren't you getting apples from New Paltz? Guys, stop. I'm going to get you local produce. I also brought some nice tomatoes and no one ate them. So I told Jared, keep it coming. It's fall harvest. You're going to get a few more items coming into winter. Then it'll stop and I'll start in spring. Every month come next year. I just wanted to touch upon the local produce right now, see how you all felt about it. But I'll be bringing in once spring of next year, you're going to get sick of it, which is a good thing. Okay. And I have one last thing and then I'm done. Come hide in my kitchen come October 4th. Okay? You were in my office smoking cigars. I know. Yes.
Say something tell them to say something in the moment if there's some complaint at the table.
Oh, yes. This is something we touched upon. Thank you, but I've had a day, Betsy. We were going to talk when we were in dining committee. I was told last week, I got a friendly email being told that there were some people who were very upset with dining and they were going to come to dining committee to let us know. And then they didn't come. I was so ready. That being said, that's not how to do things. Dining committee is amazing and you can definitely bring your grievances to your dining committee members, okay? Trust me, nobody leaves Joan alone. But first come to me, email me, come see me. In real time, I always have some kind of a manager on the floor. Tanya, Ruth comes around, Jared's always in the kitchen. If you are unhappy with your meal, or unhappy with your server, or just unhappy because the wind blew, because some of you just aren't unhappy because the wind blows. That is in real time, call someone over. I think that I have proven that if you do not like what you have in front of you, we will replace it. We will get you something else. We will, what we refer to as refire it and heat it up every time. And it does not take long. There was a time where you did not do that. When I first got here, why am I going to complain? You're not going to do anything about it. That is not true. Anytime any one of you come to me, I try my best to fix the situation. You have to go in real time in the moment. You coming to dining committee in September and telling me that on August 22nd, when you had pot roast, it was a little spicy. I can't go back to August 22nd. And I mean, maybe it's in the compost, but that's going to be a hell of a thing. Okay. So in real time, you have the happy or not machine. You always have some kind of a manager presence in the dining room. And you also have email, diningdirector@wpatnp.org. That's me. You have Ruth at the host desk. People will go to Emily and say something. Anybody wants to do a one-on-one with me and you emailed me, I got a phone number. You can just ask concierge, call Amy. She'll get me on the phone. Leave me messages. You want to have a one-on-one with me? Tell me. But in real time, by the time you're going to dining committee to complain about a meal 2 weeks ago, it's too late. I don't know the staff that was on. I mean, I could look at their schedules, but I'd like to fix things in real time so it doesn't happen the next day. And please remember, like in anything you've ever done before, we've gone out to eat, there's bad meals or a bad night. We all have bad days. We all have bad nights. We all have bad meals. If there's a pattern of behavior, that's when I need to know. Okay. So if there's a pattern of really bad service, a pattern of some really crappy meals, you got to let me know. But if you didn't get enough sauce on your spaghetti and meatballs, put that in the happy or not and let it go. What? Ask for more sauce. Ask for lemon. Call somebody over. You're not afraid. I know that you're not. Thanks, Betsy. Just like I'm going to tell you, though, if you're close to the kitchen during October 4th, we're going to bring you in. Anybody who's in the dining room, the reason that we do these drills is because we're learning. You guys I don't know if you know, I didn't hear anyone say this, but after the drill, we all meet, leadership meets, and we talk about like the pack. I already knew, Tamar, what happened in here because Sarah brought it back. You didn't even have to mention that today. Sarah brought back your concerns. We discussed it. And that's why we do these things. So we have hot washes. So the biggest thing is if you're in my dining room or even in the pub, we're going to push you into the kitchen. Why not, Bets? There's food in there. It's very safe in there because the doors lock. We got big tables and we have offices. Halima was in my office with her feet up smoking a cigar the other day. Right? And they locked Jared out, I heard. So always, if you're going to your apartment, this happens, go into that kitchen. Come into the dining room and let my servers take you in. Okay. So if you're anywhere near the kitchen, that's an okay spot to come and hide because I know some of you can't get back to your apartments. So that kitchen is perfect. All right. Any questions for me? Yes, I know.
I've recently been sitting with people who asked, looked at the menu, what is this? What is that? And I said, ask for a sample. And samples were brought out and they go, this is really good. They never tried something. So ask for a sample.
Anytime there is a new menu item or something that it could have been on the menu all the time and you want to try it, but you're afraid, definitely ask your server if you can try a little. I'm going to tell you right now, they'll never say no to you. They're not going to. Definitely try something. And I also noticed there's a lot of people who would tell me it's the same items on the menu all the time. Oh, I'm so tired. I've heard this one lady, she likes to just call me over to say it. You know what I realized? She only eats on Thursdays. So please keep that in mind. Some of you only come to the dining room certain nights. So for you, you're always seeing the same items. Someone's like, I want eggplant parm. I'm not going to call you out in this audience right now. But that person wasn't there the night before when we had eggplant parm. That's why we have those weeks at a glance at the front. So you can see all of your favorite items. You can see what we're serving in the dining room. So you know that we had eggplant parm. Okay, any other questions for Amy? Oh, I love this. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, try and email her if you got anything for her. And if anyone can email the definition of quickly to Amy, that would be helpful. Okay? Yes. Also, a couple things for me. I'll show you what quickly is. Composting is going really well. The new system we've put in place. I know some people weren't thrilled with the idea of the location, but it seems to be going well right there. If you have concerns or issues, please bring them to me or Carrie. Okay, but that new system is going well and it'll be great in the winter time so you don't have to walk outside and put it out in the snow. Annuals are also going well. So when Carrie calls you, we did meet our goal last year, which kind of ended at the mid-July part where we got everyone's annuals up to date. So we're starting the next run for the next calendar year from really July to July, depending on when you moved in and all the new people. So Carrie will be reaching out to you for annuals as well. There's been a lot of pest control issues this year, as some people in this room can attest to. And it's ongoing. Hopefully they'll die down soon, but let concierge know or call me or Carrie immediately and we can, get pest control here sooner if we need to, address the issue several times if we need to. Like, that's going to have to happen. So just let us know when that happens. Any questions? You have a question? We had a huge issue outside because a composting bin was right there and we had a huge bee's nest up in the vinyl siding. So we had to treat that multiple times. We just didn't want anyone just hanging out there, going out that door, or didn't and have to. You could have gone out the other stairwell door if you needed to, but we just closed it off because it was an issue. You could still get to the gazebo out there, but we can pull that in because he will treat that one more time. All right, but it's a large nest that was up there. So that's one of the other reasons we got rid of the composting. Okay. Any other questions for me? Any of you Giants or Jets fans in the room? How about them Cowboys? Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks.
Wait, Rob, I'm gonna say something, not about what you were saying. One thing I want to bring up that is fresh because it happened yesterday. He's not in the room, but a resident here was scammed yesterday. Someone called his apartment, said that there was a $90,000 charge against his account. He gave this person access to their account. Everything got resolved, luckily, but this is just a reminder that everyone needs to be cautious. They'll call your house. Most banks, your bank, your personal bank will not call your house. They'll never say anything like that. You won't get an email that says anything like that. And if you do, call your bank right away. Call your credit card right away. Do not give anyone calling you or anyone emailing you access to your account. Do not give them information. Do not give them your social security number. Do not give them your date of birth. Don't give them your account number. Don't give any information.
Don't give information on your computer as well. I've had someone call my sister saying they were Apple support, and then she was letting them log in as a random user to the computer. I'm like, Aim, get off the phone right now and like disconnect that. So those things can happen too. So also when you're discarding information, your private information, your bank statements, I have seen them in the wrong place in the garbage rooms. Think about what you're discarding. Cross that out. Don't put your name on it. Account numbers are usually not on there, but you don't put sensitive information in just a common garbage or common recycling.
Or make a pile of that. As most of you know, once or twice a year, we have the shredder bin that comes here. We also have shredder bins around the community. So if you have something that you want to get rid of that you don't want to wait for the shredder truck, drop it off at concierge and we'll put it in one of our shredder bins. But hang on, Miss Malou, we'll come to you. But I just wanted to bring this up because, again, it did happen yesterday. Please be cautious. Do not give information out. And if you ever have a question, contact us. And while I'm on this topic, I'm not getting ahead of myself on this, but Ryan, our RTA, just graduated with his cybersecurity degree. It is a congratulations, but I just want to bring to light that he is going to start applying for jobs in his field. Again, I'm getting ahead of ourselves. I don't know how soon that'll happen, but I just want to get it out there. So be cautious. Call me, call Ryan for now, and we'll do the best we can to help. Miss Malou.
Have the LED lights had an impact? I mean, changing them out, or you're thinking energy wise, or just affecting you, or just energy wise? Tom can talk about that. He's the expert.
LED, have changing the LED lights had an impact? Yes. Do I have a quantifiable answer on it yet? No. But without a doubt, every light that we changed uses a lot less power than the one we replace it with. But I haven't done a study yet to see exactly how much energy. It's a really hard, it would be almost impossible to know, but it has made a dramatic impact. We're not fully done yet with the LEDs. We went through the building. We have to start changing the cottages, and then we'll get back to, there's a lot of apartments in the building we haven't gotten to yet. And we will get to that. But I don't have a schedule right now. But the cottages, the next places we have to go. A couple other things. You're aware that we're changing the HVAC units in the wings, central, north and south. On September 27th, the units on the north wing are getting changed. And south wing. No, sorry, north wing. I got a lot in here. And the crane is going to pick up the unit and put it in place. When the crane picks that unit up, the apartments that are underneath where the unit goes have to vacate. And they've all been contacted. And for that day, people will be out of their apartments while that happens. The next day, on the 28th, the crane changing the one for Central, it's going to pick the unit up pretty much right outside of Michelle's window, come across Concierge, come across the lobby, across the bistro, and onto where it goes. So on the 28th in the morning, we're going to have to be vacating Concierge, the admin office, the lobby, and the bistro. And there'll be more coming out about that. But this is a code requirement that while that unit is in the air, there's nobody in the building below it. So as soon as, and then it shouldn't take that long. No date yet for that. That'll be coming up probably a few days after those, but we don't know yet. Crane availability is tough, and so is equipment. It's really been very difficult to get all the equipment. Segueing on that, I know a lot of you are waiting on the EV stations to get turned on, the new EV stations over by the health center entrance. Same thing there. The wiring is done, the units are in, and we're waiting on a 480 volt breaker. And it's just, as soon as it comes in, boom, it's right in. But it's just taking weeks and weeks to get that breaker. I expect it in a week, but I've heard that before too. As soon as that comes in, those EV units will be on. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yep.
I happen to live in the south
Right.
of the thing, but we haven't had our AC units or anything in well over a year. We have non-functioning units. So I'm a little disappointed to hear that there is no delivery date and other wings are getting theirs. Can you explain that?
Nope, I can't. I just can't. I can't control when they get stuff. In other words, I know for the South Wing, they have like 80% of the parts they need, and they're just waiting to get that. And as soon as they get it, they'll schedule it.
Are the units the same in all three wings?
No. They're all different sizes, all different issues. So it's not the same unit. It's not the same exact thing. The people who are ordering it and getting it and installing it are very motivated to get it and install it because we haven't paid them any money. So they're very, very motivated to get it. So that, and again, it's not just them. It's not just those units. Just in this country right now, there is just a lot of people waiting on a lot of things. And that's, as soon as they get it, we'll put it in. Also, I can tell you that also as of right now, all three wings, we have the ability to turn the heat on in the hallways. So should Should it get cold tomorrow, we can turn the heat on.
I have a question about the big gutters on top of the building. Plants are growing out of mine.
Yeah,
quite
I know
big,
there's some,
and I showed them to you last year. And the thing is, my downspout is also clogged, and then it comes out of the seams, and my sidewalk is covered with a black slime, and it's sort of, I try to jump over it, but it's really slippery. So, and at one point you said you needed a crane.
I didn't need a crane, I needed a lift. I will give you an answer in a couple of weeks. That's something else that we've been in, I've been
Okay,
trying to
I'll
get.
send you a little reminder note.
Fine. Yeah,
Politely.
I know, yeah. It's, yeah.
Tom, I know you've signed the contract for the sidewalks.
Correct,
and
right.
When is that going to happen?
I'm expecting that in a week or two. Yep, and they'll come back every year. And keep doing that. Yep. That was interesting. That guy who did it, he shows up with, I thought that was pretty funny when I first saw him, but he had a pair of shoes that like looked like almost like clown shoes. They were long and pointy. And he had them made just for what he does. And he just walks around like looking for trip hazards. And like, that's how he does it. Like if his shoes pick him up, you know, right. Yeah, but it's good. No, we got a nice report that, you know, he's motivated to find things because it's money. So he's motivated to find them. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Next.
Gonzalez, good question. We bid out the snow and grass. Gonzalez will be doing the snow this year, but then at the conclusion of the snow, another company, Quick Landscaping, will be taking over after that to do grass next year and snow for the next 3 years. Quick, that's the name of them. The gentleman who operates it, Matt, is also the EMS chief in town. So there could be some benefits to that. All right, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Scatoro, the Director of Marketing. I just have a couple of things. September's been a little busy for us. We've had 7 new people join us. We've had 6 more close on apartments this month, between now and the end of next week. And then we have a few more that are still waiting for renovations, and then they'll be moving in. So we still have a full house. We're still growing our wait list. Obviously, you know, we have turnover here, but we're filling, you know, those homes quickly as they open up. One more thing I want to mention is that a few years ago, I don't know if anyone remembers, on our resident portal that you can access through our website, we had a resident forum. It was not utilized much at all. Then we revamped and changed and designed a brand new website in 2021. And along that way, it kind of got put on the back burner. We didn't open up the forum because it wasn't used. It had a lot of things that needed to be fixed. It wasn't really user friendly. Yakov tried to get it up and running, tried to talk with people about using it. It just really wasn't doing anything. We have since then, we have a new digital website company that we work with that's been revamping it for us. It's in the final stages. It's very user friendly. It will be up and running soon. We will, again, like we did in the past, do a training how-to session, probably here, and showing you on the screen how to use it. It's very simple. I mean, you will log on to the portal just as you do now, see a section that says resident forum, and you can post your own topic. You can reply. There's no real, background registration process or a different password that's needed. You simply enter your name and either create a new topic or, add comments to something existing. So once we're done with that, we will, present it to you, but it is in the final stages and we will have that up and running for you soon. And that's actually all I have.
Regarding that website, no, it's what's the other thing? The big thing in the hall. What's that called?
Connected Living.
Connected Living. I find it impossible to see the menu when I try to see it. It's just only a portion of it shows. And it's just,
Is that on your personal device or on the screens in the hall?
no, in my computer,
Okay.
it's, yeah, it's just that the writing of the menu is
Mhm.
about 3/4 obscured.
Jason will look into that for you.
How many people on the waiting list?
There's unit wise, not people, because it's couples and singles. I think we're up to 60 units right now waiting for. Yeah, we honestly add new people almost every single week to the list.
2 questions, Shannon. The portal that you mentioned, will that be monitored?
Yes. Yes, we are. We haven't designated who yet, but we will have the ability to monitor it to make sure there's, no foul language or, things like that going on.
And the second question, I hear various things. Is there still a finder's fee offered for residents who refer somebody?
There is. So for residents, if you have any friends or anyone you know that's thinking about Woodland Pond, it's very important to contact our office to refer them so we can put your name under them in the system. If they're already in there because they've contacted us on their own, or if somebody else already referred them, we'll tell you. But you do get it's $1,000 off your monthly service fee when the person moves in. So that's how that works. They don't just come for a tour and you get, something for that.
I have a question about the new portal. Is that a push system or a pull system? In other words, when there is something posted on that, are we notified on email? Because otherwise we wouldn't know it's there.
You can be. So there's a how-to guide that comes along with this. So it will show you where you can check off, send me alerts for something on this topic, or if somebody else comments on it. So yes, you will have that option.
We are notified when
Yes.
someone posts something.
You will be.
Okay.
Jeffrey.
Oh, Jeffrey, hold on.
Where exactly is the property that's being considered? I gather it's contiguous to the community here for expansion.
There is nothing set. I mean, there's nothing other than conversations at this point. Woodland Pond hasn't made any offers on anything yet.
Any other questions for Shannon? No?
All right, thank you.
You got a question for me? Here, I'll take that. Go ahead.
Did you mention window cleaning? Nobody cleaned my windows this year.
Yeah, I did mention that, a couple meetings ago.
Okay.
We are not doing window cleanings this year.
Oh,
It just
okay.
didn't work out this year. We're scheduling and some other things. So we will be doing it next year. All right. So you're aware on the window cleaning. Yes, there was that factored into water conservation. Yeah. Every year.
This is for Jason. When and if, well, I should say when Ryan does, I'm thrilled that he got his certification, whatever. Will you be replacing him?
Yeah, of course. That position's not going away.
Good.
I don't have anyone in mind for it yet. We'll see. And again, I'm not rushing him out. I hope he stays for a while longer. He's been great. So yeah, no. He's going into a different field altogether, cybersecurity. He's going to go bigger and beyond this. And while we're on the topic of some staff moves, I'm sure you've noticed that Marissa has not been on the desk. We're currently in the process of hiring another full-time desk attendant. That doesn't mean Marissa won't be back. No final decision has been made, but currently Marissa's at the reception desk. You may see her over there Monday to Friday, 7 to 3, for those of you who go over to the health center. So yeah, just so you know, there will be another person hired, whether they're at reception or concierge, it's yet to be determined. But there's a small change too.
I'll get you, Mr. Randall.
Larry, for me? For whoever, for Cameron?
For Cameron?
Yeah, since the topic of staff replacements have come up, I'm bound to ask who's going to replace the irreplaceable Cameron? Or will that position remain? Will it be reworked? Anything new on that?
No, so nobody will be replacing it. So if anybody has anything that would require my attention, I suppose you may want to catch me in the next 3 weeks, or else it will be put off to one of my friends sitting over here.
Right, okay. Now, I do have a question going way back to earlier in the meeting, the notion of how we learn about alerts, whether you call them lockdowns, drills, whatever you call them. And we're told that we should, in many cases, if not all cases, turn off or at least silence our phones. So now that means that we're going to be sitting around wherever we end up, staring at the phone because we won't hear anything. We'll have to look on the phone to see when the all clear or when some other information comes along. How's that going to work?
You're saying in general or for the 4th?
Well, and anytime thereafter when we have to do that same thing.
Yeah, ultimately, the way that it will work is that depending on what would happen in an emergency scenario, whether it be an exercise or a real event, ultimately what would happen is that is the quickest way for us to get communication out to residents and staff is to get it to those lines, meaning text message, email, and phone calls. Just because that is a personal device or devices that people have to themselves. And that's the quickest way to let you know what's kind of going on. So in the event that something happens in terms of an emergency exercise or event, the most reliable and first place that you ideally would hear of it is via your own personal device, or if you're with a friend, if they're subscribed, or if you're actually in the community, somewhere around the community. But in order to be updated as to what's happening throughout that, that would also be in that same method. So it's important to keep that with you. Yes. Right. So what we had said earlier was to keep it on vibrate, or better yet, keep it on silent. So it's important to try and review how to do that in the case that something of this nature does happen. Does that answer your question, Larry? Okay. So it's 2:33, so I'll try and keep it brief. I just have a few things. We pretty much reviewed everything for the emergency exercise. One thing, and I know it's been a hassle and something that Jason and I have been speaking of for months at end now, is we've been trying to get something established for residents with Verizon. Unfortunately, we haven't come to fruition with any type of offering for you all yet. We were hitting some bumps in a road in terms of our status as a not-for-profit organization and what that would mean for a business plan to offer to residents. But rest assured that we are looking at different opportunities that we have with our group purchasing order. And that's as a not-for-profit organization and a large organization that we're able to have different discounts at different places. So more information to come on that. We're just trying to get all of those details to let you know before we keep ultimately stringing you along again. So again, our apologies, but if you have questions, you can come visit me or Jason.
And I've talked to, just a side note on that, with the group purchasing organization. I've worked with them closely. They have given me some AT&T information. Any AT&T subscribers in here? I might pick one of you and try and get a discount, because the group purchasing organization is telling us usually that's meant for employees, but they clarified us it might also apply to residents. So I might use a guinea pig and try one of you AT&T customers to try this and see if that works for you to get that 25% off on part of your bill, if that's what you want to do. So you guys could see me or Cameron about that if you're an AT&T person, and we'll work on that. Okay.
The other thing I wanted to cover is that I know many of you saw in the Chanticleer or heard from your friends that we're offering a new subscription service with Meadow Scent of Gardner. So Meadow Scent is a local florist that often, makes deliveries to Woodland Pond or has a lot of business with Woodland Pond. They're a local florist, and we had a resident, Virginia Coley, thank you, who came to me and asked if we could start something of this sort. So basically what we're doing is we're offering the opportunity for residents in the entire community to become able to subscribe to a program where you'll receive monthly or bi-weekly floral arrangements. So this will be $25 for once a month or $50 for twice a month, and it'll get delivered right to Woodland Pond. It'll be a full arrangement that will, vary upon the season or the holiday or whatever it might be. So currently we have about 14 residents who are signed up. And so far, it seems like everybody's had great success with theirs. So if you're interested, you can contact concierge at any time, and they can sign you up. What we've had thus far is we've had residents just get billed through their bill from us, and we pay MeadowCent. There's different avenues to doing that, but so far that's worked. So if anybody's interested, again, contact concierge. The bigger thing I wanted to speak about is the Walk to End Alzheimer's, which is on October 14th. Again, I keep reiterating this, but I know that some of you may be frustrated with the amount of awareness that we've had around the Alzheimer's Association, but ultimately this Walk to End Alzheimer's on October 14th is what we've been fundraising and, showing support for. So on October 14th at 10 o'clock at the walkway over the Hudson on the Highland side is the Walk to End Alzheimer's. Ultimately, this is a nationally recognized event that will raise money for the Alzheimer's Association. This specific one is for the Dutchess Ulster Walk chapter. So now with that being said, what we have been doing as a team is fundraising for this specific walk. We had set a goal of $15,000 and we're only about $3,000 away from our goal. So with the, sales of our apparel, which I brought to show you in case anybody's interested. This is a shirt, just a regular old tee. And this is a zip up hoodie. Partial proceeds, other than what covers the actual cost of the apparel, is going towards the team. In addition to any other donations and fundraisers that we have, is all that is going towards our fundraising goal. So those shirts are $20 and the zip ups are $40, and they can come right out of your account charge or cash or check or however you prefer to do so. But if you're interested, please come visit the team tomorrow from 4 to 6 to grab yours. Or you can always come to my office or contact somebody at or around concierge to get yours. More specific to the walk. I know it might sound a little bit intimidating because it's a walk at the walkway, but I don't know if anybody's ever attended the Walk to End Alzheimer's, but ultimately it's just a day of really fun events with vendors and food and drinks and just a great community support system where people come out to enjoy what should be a very nice day. And at 10 o'clock, there's an opening ceremony, which will announce what the fundraiser is, what the Alzheimer's Association is. We'll recognize the sponsors and the teams. So just so you know, Woodland Pond is a very significant sponsor of this event. So that's why we've kind of been driving this to, no end over the past few months. And if we end up reaching our goal, Woodland Pond will be the #1 fundraise team at this event, which we're very proud of. So with the help of you all, we're hoping to try and get some of you there to fundraise and volunteer and walk. So we'll have all this information specified in the newsletter and the Chanticleers to come, but the start ceremony is at 10 o'clock. And the walk would technically start at 10:30. That doesn't mean that everybody needs to walk. The walkway over the Hudson is about 3 miles round trip there and back. But many people don't walk. Many people can just sit around. We actually have very many tents that we can choose from as being a part of Woodland Pond, since we are one of the top earning teams. So if you're interested in joining and, you may not be able to or wish to walk, please feel free to still attend and, kind of just hang out with us that day. So please look at the information in the Chanticleer and the newsletter for specifics. And the other thing is we'll also be providing transportation. So a transportation schedule will be in the newsletter. And the idea is that if you're interested, you sign up with concierge just so that we have an attendance sheet.
That's what I was going to
That was
ask
the
you
question?
if Woodland
Yeah,
would
so
have
I didn't want to, give too many details today just because I know it's hard to not write them down and try and remember everything. But if you're interested in, attending just the walk, then the walk would start there at 10 o'clock. And if you're interested in volunteering with the Woodland Pond team, it would be expected to be there between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. So that's just something to think about. And again, Woodland Pond will be providing transportation. And I think that's it. Does anybody have questions?
Hold on.
Sorry, I know it's
One last question.
I know it's late.
off topic, kaleidoscope. The basket people are wishing to tell you they need baskets, medium-sized baskets, and we still need stuff for the baskets. You guys always come through, but I get very nervous a couple of weeks before. But thank you to those that have already given. And please, if you have any baskets, we really are desperate. We're down to hardly any. Thank you.
And if we can give Cameron a round of applause for all her hard work here before she leaves for a new adventure.
Emery, I want to thank you, and I want the residents here thanking you for setting up with Jason and other staff members on the cleanup of 299 between the 2 points. And could you speak about what is the future possibly of that? Okay.
Yeah, so what Artie's talking about is the Adopt a Highway program that we've implemented through the Department of Health. So we are cleaning up a 2-mile radius around Lowe's right down the street on 299. So I am not sure who will be taking on that torch to do it. I'm assuming it would probably be Jason, but he can decide that one. But yes, technically we are responsible for a quarterly cleanup. So that's most likely what we will continue doing. Our goal is to do it on the off seasons when the weather is better. So we just had our second one, and then I would assume we would probably plan for another one before winter came, but I'll leave that one to Jason. Anybody else?
All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.